Teacher burnout. It's a huge topic, and for good reason. It's so much more than just having a tough week. It's a full-blown crisis for educators everywhere. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into why it happens, and way more importantly, we'll look at some real, practical strategies to get back your time and, yes, your joy in this incredibly important job.
Let's just kick things off with a number that's, honestly, pretty shocking. According to Gallup, a staggering 44% of K-12 teachers say they feel burned out very often. And get this, that's the highest rate of any profession they surveyed. This isn't just a small issue, it's a systemic problem that's hit a boiling point.
And that leads to something we really need to get straight right from the start. If you're an educator, and this sounds familiar, listen up. It is not because you aren't trying hard enough. Burnout is not a personal failure. It's a sign that the system itself is asking for more than is humanly possible. Just shifting your perspective to that is the first massive step toward finding a real solution.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we've got to look at the anatomy of burnout itself. I mean, what are we actually talking about when we use that word? Because it is so much more than just feeling tired.
You know, from a psychological standpoint, burnout has a real definition. It's a chronic state of depletion. It hits you on every single level, physical, mental, and emotional, and it's caused by long-term excessive stress without nearly enough time to recover. Think of it like a slow burn that just gradually saps all of your energy.
And what's fascinating is how researchers like the psychologist Christina Maslach break this down. Burnout isn't just one thing. It has three distinct parts. First up, you've got emotional exhaustion. That feeling of being totally and completely drained, like you have absolutely nothing left to give. Then, depersonalization kicks in. That's when you might start to feel distant or even cynical about your students and your colleagues. And finally, there's this feeling of reduced accomplishment, where you start to believe that nothing you do even matters anymore. It's that toxic combination that really defines true burnout.
Okay, so what is driving all of this? For teachers, one of the absolute biggest culprits is something we can call the time trap. It's this overwhelming amount of work, and the craziest part is, so much of it is completely invisible.
I mean, just look at this number, 53. The National Education Association found that the average teacher works 53 hours a week. That's way more than a standard 40-hour work week, and it goes a long way to explaining why that recovery time is just non-existent. And if we break that down, you can really see the problem. Around 33 hours are what you might expect, direct, in-classroom teaching. But then look at that other chunk. An extra 20 hours a week get eaten up by these so-called hidden tasks. This is where the time trap really gets you.
So what are these hidden time sinks? Oh, you know them. It's all the stuff that isn't actually teaching but is still required. It's the endless administrative paperwork, the constant flood of parent emails, the grading, creating new resources from scratch, and then documenting every single lesson to make sure it aligns with standards. It just creates this vicious cycle where you always feel like you're playing catch-up and you never, ever feel like you're truly off.
Okay, so that's the problem. But look, it's not all doom and gloom. Not at all. Now that we understand what we're up against, let's talk about the path to recovery. This is about actively, intentionally taking back your time and, even more importantly, your energy.
It really all boils down to that classic saying, right? You simply cannot pour from an empty cup. And protecting your energy isn't some luxury. It is a professional necessity. It means you have to shift your thinking from just managing tasks to actively managing your own well-being. So how do you actually do that? Well, the key is to set some simple boundaries. And they don't have to be these huge, life-altering things. Something like a daily shutdown ritual. Maybe it's closing your laptop and immediately going for a walk that signals to your brain that the workday is officially over. Or using email windows instead of checking your inbox every 5 minutes. These small structures give you back a sense of control.
And this is where technology gets really interesting, because it's like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, the constant notifications, the digital overload, that stuff absolutely feeds burnout. But on the other hand, if you use it intentionally, tools like AI-powered graders can streamline some of that repetitive work and free you up to focus on what actually matters, connecting with your students.
All right, so managing your time is huge, but true recovery goes deeper than that. It's about building that internal resilience, and a massive part of that is rediscovering the why. You know, the reason you got into teaching in the first place.
Psychologists have a great term for this: values alignment. And all it really means is making sure the little things you do every day actually line up with your big why. For a teacher, that could be consciously deciding to prioritize a meaningful conversation with the student over finishing some piece of paperwork, because for you, connection is a core value.
But let's be real. How do you find time for that when you're just trying to survive the day? It feels impossible. And that leads to a really powerful question. How can small, almost effortless changes create really big results over time?
The answer? Micro habits. We're talking about tiny, almost ridiculously small actions. A 2-minute reflection at the end of the day to just write down one good thing that happened. Taking 3 deep breaths as you walk between classes to reset your nervous system. These aren't huge time commitments, but doing them consistently builds up, rewiring your brain to focus on progress, not just on the pressure.
And maybe the most important part of all this, you are not supposed to do this alone. In fact, you can't. Burnout absolutely thrives in isolation, but it shrinks when you have community. And the data here is crystal clear. Teachers with strong peer support are twice as likely to stay in the profession. Connection is a powerful antidote.
So, when you put all of this together, it points to one final, massive shift we have to make. To truly beat burnout, we have to completely redefine what it means to be a successful teacher.
You know, the old way of thinking about a good teacher was all about doing more hours, more grading, always chasing this impossible standard of perfection. The new paradigm? It's about sustainable excellence. It's not about doing more, it's about doing enough and doing it intentionally in a way that actually allows for long-term fulfillment in your career.
And here it is, the big takeaway from all of this. A well-rested teacher is a better teacher. Period. Taking care of yourself, protecting your time, and managing your energy, that isn't selfish. It's a core component of professional excellence. It's what allows you to show up as the creative, patient, and amazing educator that you want to be. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. Forget about overhauling your entire life overnight. Just think, what is one small, simple step you can take today to protect your energy and reclaim even just a little piece of your joy? Because right there, that's where the change really begins.